Chambers of Commerce to be here, and before they speak, Steve is going to open this up. But I just want to remind folks that we at the League had been supporting a conservation civics initiative, and shopping local certainly helps that. If you can walk to the store, if you can bring your bags, you're consuming less fuel. I have been buying bruised fruit for a while, and it saves me money, which is pretty good. And the bananas are more healthy for you if they're ripe, so you might want to keep. We have this morning with us, we have Nancy White, who is native of the area. And Nancy runs the Flower Bar, which is in Larchmont on, what is the name? On Acton Street. Addison Street, please excuse me. And it's next to the Meaderia, right? And across from Chatsworth School. And we also have Rita Kim, who is fairly recent to the community, is that right?
Yes, about 5 years.
About 5 years, and she is with the Mamaroneck Chamber of Commerce. Before we get started, I'd like to turn this over to Steve Otis to say a few words, and then we'll have our speakers make their presentation.
Nautilus Diner, which is so often the locale for either the Summit or League of Women Voters events to talk about things that are so important to the Mamaroneck and Larchmont communities. And if you come today with the idea that this is narrowly a discussion of how we help local businesses, it sort of sells short what this is really about, because this topic is as important to Mamaroneck and Larchmont as what's going on in the schools, what's going on in the local governments, what's going on with our not-for-profit organizations, our little leagues, everything else. Because the key thing about getting people to buy local and to support local businesses is that local businesses and local commerce are vitally important to what we are as a community. People choose to live in a community because they see a vibrant local business sector. People depend upon their property values because they see a community life that includes local commerce, independent businesses, the kinds of choices that local merchants provide. It is vitally important that we support them, not just because we want our local businesses to succeed, but they are the key to our community succeeding. And so I think you're going to hear from two leaders of our local chambers about what's going on in Larchmont and Mamaroneck and what they're doing. But I think that there's sort of a call to arms for all of us, which is to go out and explain to people, spread the word that it's important for Mamaroneck and Larchmont that people support the local businesses, that you shop there. There are so many benefits. You're more likely to find more interesting goods. You're more likely to get personal service and treatment that you might not get online or in big chain stores. There's a multiplier effect. Every dollar you spend at a local merchant recirculates itself multiple times within the community in a variety of ways. So with that as an introduction, we have two great speakers here, and shop local.
Want us to introduce ourselves? Is that what you'd like? Okay, it's going to be a little bit challenging because of I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're not ready for prime time here anyway. So, all right, why don't you pass the microphone around, okay, and then I'll get it at the end. And
for the benefit of the speakers, I was thinking.
Oh, okay.
So
well, you know, all right, but I think let's do it anyway with the microphone, and then we'll people at home can.
Hi, I'm Sunny Goldberg, and I love shopping local. I don't know about anybody else, but usually we're all asking our local people to be helpful to us for every event, for every occasion. I'm former president of LMC-TV, and we're as local can get. And so I am here because I want to support our local businesses as well as our local people. So thanks for coming, everybody.
Carolyn Pomerantz, board of LMC-TV, as well as the Summit and the League of Women Voters, and I love to shop local also. So I'm so happy to have everyone here.
Hi, I'm Linda Alpert, Alpert Mediation. I'm also board president of KEEPS, an after-school program right here in Mamaroneck. And I'm also a trustee at the Westchester Jewish Center in Mamaroneck.
Good morning, Christy Derrico. I am presently the judge in the village of Mamaroneck, but I'm also a local business owner myself with a local law firm for over 15 years. And I just wanted to alert everyone, I think it's going to be on April 3rd. I am the local spokesperson for the Fresh Air Fund, and we're trying to drum up activity for that organization here in Westchester County, which has really waned. So look out for that if anyone wants to attend and get more information on the Fresh Air Fund. That'll be at the Emlyn.
Hi, I'm Nancy Seligson, Mamaroneck Town Supervisor.
I'm Abby Katz, Mamaroneck Town Councilwoman, and also on the steering committee of the food pantry, which also enjoys a lot of support from our local businesses. They often do food drives and collect things for the pantry.
Judy Silberstein, Board of the League of Women Voters.
Good morning, Keith Yiser, Mamaroneck Public Schools Board Member Summit.
Good morning. My name's June Walden. I own a new business in Larchmont, opened last September. It's named Ruley Artisan Shop. I sell the work of about 36 local artists. I think Shop Local is a wonderful idea. I think it's somewhat discouraging currently for merchants in Larchmont. And something I just feel I would like to say is that I'm experiencing this, and I know other merchants are. You know, we're called upon constantly to support local organizations, and I think the merchants want to do that, but it would be really nice if we saw the people who are coming in asking us for stuff shopping in the stores.
Excellent.
Good point. Yes. Thank you.
Dan Walden, I'm the handyman at Ruley, and also serve on the board of the Chamber of Commerce in Larchmont with Nancy.
Could you say where the business is located in Larchmont?
It's on Palmer Avenue, right on Palmer and Larchmont. Yeah.
She prefers not to be.
Thank you. Hi, I'm George Latimer, State Senator and one of the top 5 clients of the Nautilus Diner.
Hi, Jane Eney. I'm a town councilwoman. I have a local business, a law firm in Larchmont, and I'm former deputy mayor of Larchmont. And when I was there, I was the head of the Business District Improvement Committee and tried very hard to work with the businesses in Larchmont and to keep them going.
Good morning. I'm Ann McAndrews. I'm mayor of the village of Larchmont, and I should let you all know that the sales tax revenue is very, very important to all our municipalities, and unfortunately it is not according to volume. It is according to our population, which means if you really want to help the village out, you have to buy more.
Kids. Yeah.
I did my best.
Lynette C., Local Summit Board.
She's on the grandchildren now.
Leon Potok, trustee, Village of Mamaroneck.
Catherine Parker, county legislator and also small business owner. I own a retail store, and I've been in business for 17 years, and I'm a past president of the Rye Chamber of Commerce. So I certainly know the challenges that are facing all of our downtowns. And, you know, there are changes in habits that I think that are, you know, trends that are make it more difficult, I think, for some of us. So I look forward to hearing what everybody has to say. Thank you.
Sid Honig. I publish the Town Planner Community Calendar in Westchester. I'm a member of the Larchmont and the Mamaroneck Chamber of Commerce, each one, as well as probably another half a dozen different chambers. The reason I'm here, we're talking about Shop Local. What I do is I advertise. I'm one of the few, still effective, I believe, local means of advertising. And I also want to point out on our website, if anybody has events for their organization, go to townplanner.com, register, post it, That's what it's there for. The more traffic that we get, people looking for events on our website, they see the local advertising. It's all hand in hand.
Good morning. I'm Stephen Bartell, president of the Rotary Club of Larchmont, and I guarantee you all of my people shop local.
Welcome, everybody. Well, it was interesting. We had our first of our hopefully monthly meetings here yesterday morning for the Larchmont Chamber. The Larchmont Chamber has been, I've been on the board now, this is my third year. It's had a lot of challenges. It has its upswells, and then it sort of peters out, and then a new group of people come along and try to re-inject some energy into it. And hopefully this time, that energy is going to hold, and we're going to establish some routines and regular things that will really build a sense of community between the business owners themselves, because that's part of the problem I think in Larchmont. So we have a lot of new energy. We have new board members. We've gone out with a membership drive. We've doubled the number of members that we've had in the past, and that's still ongoing. And again, we're trying to do, every month we're going to have a meeting. We're going to alternate between the morning for a breakfast and an evening meeting. And this way, the whole idea is for the local businesses to network. So the other things that we're trying to do, we did a Winterfest this past December. And unfortunately, it snowed, so we couldn't have the trolley. But the whole idea was to build some enthusiasm and excitement downtown for the holiday season. And there's some talk now. Yesterday morning, a committee was formed to work on creating some sort of a summer event. We don't know what that's going to be yet. But it's great because some people stepped forward and said, let's try this, let's try that. Great, you guys take it away. So we're really at the very beginning of trying to get some things going. I'm really looking forward to hearing from Rita, because I know the Mamaroneck Chamber can be a model for us going forward. And we're always looking for new ideas. And again, just to reiterate what June said about the businesses coming to, people coming to the local businesses and asking for donations and whatever. I mean, I'm always happy to help, but we do appreciate if people that are doing the asking also do the buying.
You talk about 350?
Oh, okay, yes. I was at I'm a florist, and I'm part of a number of floral trade organizations, and there's one based in New England, Connecticut, actually. They're very active. Of course, we don't have an active one in New York. Why is I don't know. Anyway, they have programs throughout the year, and they had a speaker who came to talk about promoting small business, and she started something called the 350 Project. And the idea is that you choose 3 stores to spend $50 in. And it can be posted on the website, it doesn't matter. The whole idea is to encourage people to spend money in their local stores. And it's something that I'd like to look into, maybe trying to come up with some program like that, where we can really encourage people. Maybe there's some reward if they spent, they document that they spent $50 at 3 stores. And I'd like to hear some feedback about that. It's been very successful, and it's a national program.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Mamaroneck Chamber of Commerce, I would like to thank you for inviting us this morning so that we can share our ideas with you. I don't mean to sound redundant, because I think Steve already very well covered what shopping local means. But I would just like to reiterate what shopping local for the Mamaroneck Chamber of Commerce means, and I believe also for all residents of Larchmont and Mamaroneck. I think one of the first benefits of shopping locally is to build a strong, vibrant community and a strong relationship between the residents. I feel that as chambers of commerce, sometimes we put a little too much emphasis on business-to-business relationships, and we tend to forget that we need the residents, the customers, to come and patronize our businesses so we can flourish. I believe that having local stores and not cookie-cutter chains also builds character for a community. Why would you want to look like every other community out there? Why wouldn't you want to be interesting? I think that Mamaroneck has expressed that character going up and down the avenue. I mean, it's great to see all the various businesses and restaurants, with the exception of the sushi places. We have quite a few. However, they are all very successful and they're all very good. I'm notorious for eating sushi for lunch. I also believe that shopping local promotes an economic stimulus by keeping the money in the community. As Steve said, local businesses are more likely to reinvest that money within the community, and they're also very likely to contribute to the local charities. Just as was said before, we go and we do ask for things from our businesses, and yes, it would be nice for us to show our face when it's time to buy something. Shopping local also encourages more businesses to open, and that also promotes local employees. People will hire local people who in turn will shop locally, hopefully, and keep the money within the community. And I think one of the most important things for me in shopping local is, I think it's wonderful walking into a store and the person knows you already. Most of the places already know what you're gonna eat, especially if it's for breakfast. They already know how you take your coffee. They call you by your name, hi, how are you? And it's nice to see a friendly face, especially first thing in the morning. And I think that goes very well with our Mamaroneck motto of the friendly village. I would like to tell you a little bit about what the Mamaroneck Chamber does to support shopping local. And we have an array of events such as the Wine Trail, which is on May 4th this year on a Sunday. And the Wine Trail is basically, yes, we do have trolleys, but we usually have pretty good weather. So we have 2 trolleys going up and down the avenue and onto Boston Post Road. And it takes customers, residents, to local stores to sample food and wine. It has turned into a great event. We started at about 70 attendees, and we are now, last year we had over 300. We expect that this year it will be even bigger. We like to always do it bigger and better. And it's just been a great event. A lot of buzz has been heard about it. A lot of out-of-towners come in. And aside from the fact that they not only will shop local because they are exposed to the local cuisine and wine and they get to see all the other stores, I think they also get to see how wonderful Mamaroneck is. And from a real estate perspective, they start thinking about possibly moving to Mamaroneck. And I have had clients like that in the past that have said, I've come and shopped local, I've eaten at the local restaurants, we come there all the time. And when it's time to buy, they consider moving in. So I think that, it's a great thing. We also have sidewalk sales. Residents can take advantage of discounted items. They're April 10th through 12th, and we're not sure of the date in June, but we have one whole week in June. And we usually send out an email blast. We post it on our Facebook page and our brand new website to let the residents know about it. One way that we give back, and it's a great thing to also give back, not just create events for budgetary reasons, is the Halloween Spooktacular, and it's an event that we do for our children in the community. This event also has grown. I think the first time we did it, we had about 100 kids, and this year, between the children and the adults, I think we had about 1,000. I don't know, I think we lost count. Yes. And cupcakes too. I know, we went through 300 cupcakes in 30 minutes. So what we do is we have a haunted house, and we have a little children's corner with kids' activities. They can come and make masks and decorate cupcakes and paint windows. So it's a lot of fun for the children and for the adults. Let's face it, we have fun too. Aside from events that have to do with closing down the avenue and whatnot, we tried to implement some programs that are a little more subtle, such as the Welcome Home program, which is a program geared towards new residents of Mamaroneck. Within the first year of moving in, they will receive a little package from Mamaroneck Chamber members with little items that we include and a little pamphlet with all the chamber members, again, to promote shopping local. We have received great feedback from the residents because what I usually do when I deliver the packages, and this is all volunteer based, we have chamber members volunteering to deliver packages to the new homeowners. Sometimes if I see the light on, I'll knock on the door and tell them what this is, and they are really appreciative and love the fact that we're doing that. We created also a newsletter, and the newsletter doesn't only circulate to chamber members, but also to residents and anyone that would like to sign up and keep up with the events in the community.
What's the website?
MamaronneckChamberofCommerce.org. And that's about it for now.
What's your business?
Global Living Realty, residential real estate.
Nancy?
Yes, this is why I wanted Rita to go first. My other hat, besides being owning the Flower Bar and being on the board of the local chamber, is that I'm president of the Larchmont Historical Society. And actually, because of that, we've tried to do different things to promote local businesses within Larchmont. We did our house tour last year was a Cooking in Larchmont tour, where we had 8 houses and 8 local restaurants serving something in the kitchens of each of the houses, and it was probably our most successful house tour ever. This coming, coming Sunday, the 16th, we're holding a program at the Village Center in Larchmont at 3:30. It's called Let's Go to Town, and it's a then and now program where we're going to have photographs of Larchmont as it was, and then photographs of Larchmont as it is. And we are going to have residents who have lived in town, including me, since 1960, reminiscing about the way it was. And I think it's going to be a fun program, so I encourage you all to attend. Thank you. 3:30.
The League of Women Voters is also going to be encouraging people to shop local. On May 18th, we're going to have our 2nd annual community yard sale in the parking lot across the street from Memorial Park on Myrtle Boulevard. And we'll get information out about that soon, but it's going to give people an opportunity to clean out your garages so that you will have more room to shop local. And the other thing I guess I wanted to say is I find that the green markets locally are like the town greens of yore. I used to have a home in Connecticut, and there were town greens that people gathered on and got together. And I think with social media as community, we don't really get to see one another so much anymore. But one of the benefits of shopping locally, walking up and down an avenue, whether it's in Larchmont or Mamaroneck, or coming to the green market, is that we get to see one another. I see George occasionally when I go, right? And it really is, these are the opportunities for us to talk about things that may be very significant, but we're able to do it in a more casual manner. I also wanted to mention that Peggy Jackson, who's a board member, was one of the people who initiated Mamaroneck Shares, which has been really a remarkably successful program, but also people need to donate. The businesses have been encouraged to stay open late, and there's musical entertainment. There are 4 events over the course of the summer. I'm not really sure whether or not it's going to take place again this year. I think it's been going on for a few years. But it's an opportunity for families to come out, and I've participated, and what strikes me is there is such a cross-section of people coming, ages, families, the events are fun, and I think, wow, this is really something. It makes me very proud to be living in this area. I know that this isn't a Chamber of Commerce event, but the Village of Larchmont also has a Halloween event. It's the Ragamuffin Parade. And I think there's also a dog parade or something along those lines. What is that called? The Pet Parade. Pet Rescue. And
they went to
they do.
House on the Sound.
Yeah.
They had House on the Sound. Yeah.
I'm wondering, Catherine is now a new county legislator. I'm wondering if you have any comments about what's going on possibly at the county level in terms of, is there anything that's happening in terms of shopping local with the...
One of the initiatives that we're looking at for businesses, local businesses, is going green. economic development, I mean, for all our main streets is certainly critical, but it's really, I think, an issue that we haven't looked at on sort of the mass area. I will say, though, to some of what Nancy and Rita were saying, that I do think that it's when we come together as a community, and I think, you know, by the number of events that the chambers are creating, it is adding so much more to the vitality of the downtown community that I think that's really sort of the right direction, and consider yourselves successful at creating that model, because I know there are plenty of other communities not that far away where they haven't come together as volunteers. They haven't been able to really pull together a string of events to give the community another reason to come downtown and remind the property owners, you know, how great their local downtown is. So I think you're addressing it in the right direction.
Is there anything going on in Rye that you've been involved in that you might want to tell us about?
Sure. Our most successful event that we have done is what we call Mistletoe Magic. It is always held on the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and it's an old-fashioned holiday afternoon. It typically, in the last few years, has brought in between 4,000 and 5,000 people, and it is a 3-hour event. So it's really strongly intended. In fact, I remember when we first started it, having to sort of sell the idea to my board and saying, I think that, you know, this is a great way to jumpstart our holiday season, and hearing people say, well, everybody goes away for Thanksgiving, and I've been proven over and over again, as many people that go away, there are family members that are visiting family in the community that come in, and people now feel that it's a great thing to bring their extended family to. And again, it really just you know, makes our community shine, I think, and it's such a feel-good event. So that's been a very successful model. Again, it's 3 hours. It takes a lot of sweat and you know, organization to get it kicked off, but it's been very successful, and we've actually added to it in the last couple of years. We do a chili tasting contest as well, which is a lot of fun, and the restaurants, all the local restaurants, compete for that. And actually this year they went head-to-head against our fire department, and so it's a nice way to, again, give other people who don't have kids another reason to come to the downtown. That's been a very, very good model. And then we've had a Best of Rye contest, which I think Mamaroneck has started to do, right? So it's great, you know, that those type of, it's an online, we have through our Rye Chamber of Commerce website, ryechamberofcommerce.org. You can vote in different categories for your favorite store or business. We give postcards out to the businesses to help, you know, promote the contest. And then we have a luncheon where the winners are announced, and they get a nice, you know, plaque and everything. And it's a really great way to, I think, you know, reward businesses who are working really hard at kind of getting the word out, and who have been providing great customer service. I think Sonny Goldberg is 100% right that, you know, customer service is definitely one of the things that's local really can provide. Knowing somebody's name, knowing what somebody has, you know, their preferences, I think gives people another reason to come back. And so it's been very successful, I think. Those type of events have been very good. And then our sidewalk sale, you know, continues to be a very strong event. I will say this, though, one thing I have noticed in my 17 years as a small store owner is that given the internet and what I like to say is the sales culture, and I think consumers these days are really driven by those red sale signs, that a sidewalk sale is not what it used to be. I really feel that it is not as much of a call to action, because there are calls to action to buy and save throughout the year, and online certainly by continual email blasts. And I hope that, you know, for small businesses that are watching this that couldn't attend this morning, you know, the email contact to make your own call to action is probably more critical at this stage than the sidewalk sale. I'm seeing Judy Graham here from Clutch, and I see her nod.
Mayor McAndrews and Nancy to say something, and then I'd like, we've got a couple of people from Pink on Palmer, so I'd like to have you contribute. George, did you want to say something?
Just a question to anybody who can answer it. Nancy in a retail environment, Judy in a retail environment, Catherine, anybody else. Do you have, and I know this because this is a rough thing to try to calculate, do you have a sense of how much of your business comes from outside of your home zip code as a percentage of the total business you get, in rounded numbers? Is it like 30% local, 70% non-local, or 70% local, 30% non-local? And I ask that for the obvious reason that the marketing efforts, which is what I, you know, my background prior to being in public office, is on how do you find the market and how do you reach it. And so I'm curious as to how much is within an immediate area and how much is a further area beyond that.
Before we answer the question, because Nancy has to leave, I'm going to let Nancy jump in, and then it's a great question, then we'll take that. Sorry to the camera.
I apologize, George, but I just wanted to say that in the town of Mamaroneck, we are actually looking to strengthen our own identity and our own celebrations in the town, and we've been looking at our merchants as well. The town does not have a downtown as the two villages do, but the town of Mamaroneck merchants usually participate in the Village of Larchmont Chamber. I just wanted to offer that the town of Mamaroneck is very open to celebrating our merchants and working with them to enhance the shopping local ethos. And we hope to have grand opening celebrations for new organizations, new merchants, and we look forward to that. So I'm offering that and say that we look forward to that.
Did somebody want to respond? Yes.
For those of you,
I just want to make sure this is it on or not on? It's on.
Yeah.
Okay.
For stores that take credit cards, one of the, as much as we pay in fees, one of the services that comes back to us is a report that we can get that shows the demographics of our customer base. So I will speak for myself that in my business, my demographic, you know, what I'm seeing is that within a 5-mile radius, I'm attracting 80% of my customer base is from right within a 5-mile radius. 80. And that kind of corresponds with what I've read on sort of the retail trend for a hard goods store, which is that people will kind of, you know, patronize their really local business when it comes to hard goods. Now, restaurants, for a food business, they'll go much further, up to 20 miles away. And if you think about your own trends, I bet in your mind, if you list like your favorite restaurants, you will realize that they maybe are not necessarily right within the same community. But it's a pretty important statistic, I think, for those that are looking at their business and understanding that where they need to spend their advertising dollars.
So, my background, my grandparents were caterers, and their catering business is still open in Staten Island. And when you have a local business, you hire people who live locally. There have been hundreds of people that have worked at my grandparents' catering hall that I still come into contact today. So you give people jobs. There's immense benefit to having a local business. But I do have a client that owns a hardware store locally. And when Home Depot and Lowe's started to open, all these hardware stores were in terrible fear that that was going to close their doors. And actually what happened was they changed the way they were doing business. They changed their hours. They opened on Sundays. And what you found is people did little projects and say, oh, I forgot this screw, or I forgot this wrench, and they'd run down to the local hardware store and their business actually increased. So I think that these local businesses need to be very responsive to what the locals need, and they can do that better than a big box store that doesn't know their neighbor, and that the neighbor forgot, a particular color of brown paint that they need to run and get at 1 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon to finish their weekend warrior project. But things like that, we need to be responsive, and I think in all of the communities, Larchmont, the village, the town, our local leaders are very responsive to what we want to do. I know I've sat on many committees with Sunny and other people here, but we've been working on this alleyway in the village of Mamaroneck to make it more accessible to people to shop and park and come. And I think that having local leaders that are responsive to what we want to see done to make our community better are great.
Hi, I'm Judy Graham. I own Pink on Palmer Clutch and the Manor Home. Thank you, Catherine, for being in business for 17 years. It's an accomplishment for small businesses to be in business that long. And I think one of the things that either residents don't realize, and I hope that governments realize, is that there is some revenue that comes in from shopping locally. There are local taxes that come back to benefit. And so it is a relationship between the government and the small business that we need to keep in mind, that we do give to them. And so that if residents do support our businesses, they're supporting their government, they're supporting their downtown. I would agree that the internet has caused some real issues for us. And I think this perpetual sale has caused issues. And again, I don't know that residents realize or consumers realize or even care, because what they care about is the price. And so if they can go online and see a certain price of something, it is not uncommon for them to walk into my store and try to negotiate the price that they see online. Now, granted, they can't smell that candle online. They can't feel that lotion online. They don't necessarily have the information that after almost 15 years of training and background in skincare that they can get online. So it is a little frustrating when people want to negotiate a couple of dollars when the reality is I can't negotiate those prices. I pay a certain rent, and it is what it is. And in order to have good help, I pay a certain wage. I'm not paying minimum wage. I'm paying way over minimum wage because my people are worth it. They're good, they're knowledgeable, they get training, they work hard. They're not just standing at a cash register willing to take money if and when you show up. They're there to work and help. So we're adding a lot of value. So I don't know. The internet's an issue, and I'm not sure how we're all going to deal with it.
I just want to bootstrap on what Judy said. Years ago, my father-in-law had a retail store in Larchmont, and it was a garden supply store, and he would go out and look at people's lawns, and he had years and years of expertise, but Caldors could sell the grass seed for cheaper than he could even buy it. So after they went in the store and picked his brains and his 50 million years of knowledge, they went and bought the grass seed at Caldors much cheaper. And I really don't know, you talk about the government and working with the landlords, but there are certain things that the almighty dollar just drives, and I don't know how you fight that. And I know it's frustrating.
For me, since I grew up here, is a lot of the people that call to order flowers are people I went to high school with or grade school with, and I'll be like, okay, is your maiden name? Right. And it's so much fun. I end up reconnecting with all kinds of people. So it makes my job a lot of fun. But I also wanted to mention, in terms of the internet, flowers. I mean, I get the emails, for Pro Flowers or 1-800-Flowers or whatever. You have these wire services that you can go online and order flowers and it's filled by a florist somewhere else. What I try to do is, just as Judy said, offer value. I mean, my merchandise is not things that you can get from those online retailers. My flowers are totally different. I mean, the quality of them and how we prep them and how we put them together for you. So there's a value in that, and that's what you're paying for, not just to be in a local, a local business. And just like Judy, I pay my designers who are incredibly skilled, who come from some of the best, the best shops and design people in Manhattan. And the other thing is, and I think that actually Judy was sort of an inspiration to me when I bought my shop, because I think that one of the reasons why Pink is so successful is because she's created an environment that's a real experience. And I think that that's what we need to provide as retailers. That's what the stores need to do. I used to love coming to Larchmont. I can walk to the village from my house, and my husband and I would love to do that and just look in the store windows. And one of the things that we can do, as a chamber even, is encourage, innovative and interesting store windows, because that's what attracts people, just to stroll around and see what's going on. And so I try to do that, because Judy, again, I went to Judy before I bought my business and said, where do you get all that cool stuff for your fun windows? And so she's been an inspiration for me, and I think that people walk down Addison Street to look in my windows. So I think that we all have to, be aware of that. We have to offer value and make it worthwhile for the consumer to shop local.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, but he's has to be turned
I recall from the presentation that Steve Otis posted at the town of Mamaroneck that I think the numbers were something along the lines of 60% and 40% in terms of people who are coming in to shop for the best value, but that there is a very substantial percentage of people coming in to shop for an experience, and enough to be able to support a business, which is the good news. It's a matter of finding those, or catering to those consumers who aren't going to come in and only for the purpose of bargaining. If Jane is mentioning Caldors, this is a practice that's been going on for a long time, because Caldors is a fairly...
the late 70s.
I understand. So, bargaining existed before the internet, I guess is my point. And I am willing to pay more money, for example, if I'm going in for an experience. I think that having somebody come going into a store and being able to ask questions and get the kind of service is the kind of experience that some people want to have. It's not going to be everybody's experience, but in the community in which we live, I think we've got both types of shoppers, and the challenge is being able to cater to those people. Yeah, let me just hand this over.
I'm so glad you mentioned windows, because your window is terrific. And Maria at Sirens on the Avenue, my husband, who doesn't know from clothing, or let's go look at Maria's. I mean, every holiday she does a dress and Valentine, little hearts and all this stuff. And it is something that really, you look at them and you say, that person must be so capable. I think they're really creative, and I'd like to go in and see that store. You also have that wonderful ability, and it's terrific. I also wanted to just mention value. The thing that's most valuable to all of us is our home. I mean, if you go for that kind of stuff, and I've been to Pelham recently because we like the movie theater. You walk on those streets, and there are no businesses. There are empty stores all along the way, and I must tell you that the vibrant life that comes from the Avenue, and certainly areas of Larchmont where there's lots going on, it is such a different thing. And I know personally that people say, I want to look at a house, just what you said, in this area, because it is so user-friendly. And people can walk, and especially people from the city who are used to walking. And I just think there's so many pluses to it. And I love when I go into every store. They know who I am. They know what I like. They know where my kids are. They know my granddaughter. I mean, it's just fabulous. And I can't recommend shopping local any more than to say that it is part of why I live here.
I just want to put in a word for citizen volunteers who don't own businesses like myself. I, from the very moment I moved into the village of Mamaroneck, I realized how important having a vibrant downtown is to the community as a whole. And I've thrown myself as a volunteer to help rebuild the chamber, to help with community-wide events, to unite our community and to enhance the image of our community. And I think that, you know, people like Sunny, who's, you know, dedicated, she and I work so many hours, but we really believe that these events, these community-wide events that the Chamber does, they are so vital to our communities. And it is important for people that don't own businesses to help volunteer with the chambers, because the chamber itself is all made up of business people, and they need help to be able to hold the events that they do, and those events then help all of us. So I just wanted to put in a word to encourage people to volunteer, even if they don't own a business, to be helpful with the events that are held in their communities, because it really adds to the fabric and the wonderful culture of our communities.
Can you pass that down to Judy? And then Judy, can you pass it down? Thanks.
I too love being able to walk around Larchmont and Mamaroneck and seeing the local stores, but I don't like walking there in this weather. And I don't. And because the weather was so bad at holiday time, I was not able to get out. I had to do all of my shopping online and mail things around as much as possible. Although we did do some flowers, that's always, because they're delivered. And that's the point, that in this era of the internet, we consumers have gotten very spoiled. It is very easy to go online and have things delivered to your home. So if we're going to, if local businesses are going to compete with that, they have to have an online presence, and perhaps they're going to have a delivery presence. And I know that this is coming from, you know, Amazon and their drones, but has there been any conversation? I know a number of years ago, at the dawn of the internet era, there was a conversation about having a community-wide shopping website, and there was one that I think didn't do it the right way, but there was an attempt, and I think that perhaps there is now new technology and new approaches to the technology that could assist that could help merchants both promote their own store shop, but also shopping the community, and also going back to that old-fashioned where, remember, our pharmacies would deliver?
Yeah.
And you would buy toilet paper. You know, something like that where maybe all of the merchants could participate in a delivery system, so that we, people who are too scared to drive in this weather, can still shop locally.
Nancy's going to respond, but could you pass it along and then we'll bring it back up here. Thanks.
I first wanted to just respond to George's question. I am a new business only since September, but some of my best customers have been from White Plains, Pelham, and New Rochelle. Yeah. Now, with respect to the internet sales, my store in particular sells one-of-a-kind items. You can't buy what I sell on the internet because it's made by, I'm selling fine craft and art made by local artists. You know, and this is providing a great opportunity for the community to support local artists who have a very difficult time making a living. You know, no one is making a fortune out of this. And it, you know, my store also provides a great outlet for people whose talents may otherwise be recognized. So in terms of the internet, you know, you cannot buy an oil painting on the internet. Well, you could, but you can't see it. You can't touch and feel, you know, a beautiful handcrafted item on the internet. And, you know, not to harp on the same story, because I think that merchants, for the most part, want to put, anyone in business wants to put forth a positive front. Now, my husband and I both have had successful businesses, careers in business, so this is a new venture for me, and it's an adventure. what I have learned being a new merchant in Larchmont is I think there are a lot of merchants who are really hurting, people whose livelihoods depend upon local shoppers, and of course the local shoppers are not coming to them. And you know, as I mentioned before, people are very ready to come and ask the merchants for donations, etc. And the merchants are happy to do it if the stores are supported. There seems to be, I believe, a perception that if a person has a storefront, that they're making money or making a lot of money, and they have money to give away. And it's just not true. The merchants definitely need more support, and I think it's all very well to give lip service to shopping local, but I think that we have to find a way to get out into our communities and make them recognize that in order to have vibrant communities, in order to maintain the property values, people have to support their local shops. We have to find a way.
Well, the hope is that conversations like this help sensitize people to the realities, and there may be ways when people come into stores to ask for things for the chamber to have these discussions and to sensitize people. I wouldn't necessarily ascribe ill intent to people who come in and ask for something, because presumably when they're having these community events, they're doing it to improve the community.
Excuse me, I'm not.
I'm not. But what I'm saying is, it's a matter of communicating to people, because I know that I've gone into stores. For example, I sponsored Green Week for a period of years, and we wanted to encourage people to shop locally and all the rest of it. And I have had these conversations, and I was sensitized to it in a way that I might not have been, beforehand. But I think, again, it's a matter of having conversations like this. Even going into local supermarkets and asking for things. I think our local supermarkets, tend to be good supporters. And also when people go in, they never have any idea who has come before them and who is going to come after. So I think this is really a place where the chambers can actually help illuminate those of us who are coming in, so that we can be more respectful of the give and take in the relationship. Keys.
In hearing that, I was born and raised in the village of Mamaroneck, and the strip from Boston Post Road all the way to the Thruway, there's a lot of commerce.
Yeah.
One of the things that makes it very familiar is that not only do people should, how would you say, support the local businesses, but it's another thing also when the local businesses know their clientele, okay? And where you are, where you're located, you would have to know your neighbors, you would have to know the people who frequent. And actually, as growing up, the same safeguards that I used, how I can say, my father used with us, I used with my children. When they talk about abductions and all, this is another level. But just because we knew all the merchants, one of the things that made it very safe for us to say to our children, have a great day, is that they knew everybody. I can't go out to get eggs in the morning without it being an hour-and-a-half ordeal, because walking up and down, the avenue, Mamaroneck Avenue, is one of the, there's a lot of people walking, there's a lot of traffic. I don't like the people who are not used to, they're blowing their horns. I'm not used to that. Because we're walking up and down, we're talking to the merchants, we know all the merchants, and so therefore we support them, and they support us. And when ever been up Mamaroneck Avenue on Halloween, all the merchants have candy out there for the children. So to ask, to say, can you support us? They'll say readily, yes. But then in the time of giving back, the merchants, that's why they stay on the avenue. So hopefully you'll be one that will know everybody that are around you, and as well as it's a give and take. That's all I say.
I think there are economic differences, I just want to add, between the village of Larchmont and the village of Mamaroneck. It's something I've looked into in my law practice, and that is that I think that a number of the buildings in Mamaroneck are owned by the people who have the commercial space downstairs, or they're not absentee owners.
I think the long-standing ones, but the majority, that's why we have a high turnover. But what's great about it is that they don't stay unoccupied.
That's right.
The minute another business leaves, somebody else is ready to jump in.
There may be different financial realities in the village of Larchmont where, if a landlord is looking for a particular rent, they may be willing to hold out for a particular rent. And I think that may also be the case in Pelham, although I'm only speculating. But I think that obviously vacancies, create, I've even seen it in Bronxville. Vacancies create a certain perception, and it makes you feel kind of sad when you see stores that you're not open, but what's going on beyond that or behind that is unknown. It may be that you've got absentee landlords who don't really need to rent out the space unless they can get a certain amount of money, and when you're paying a high rent, you obviously then get into that cycle of having to charge more to stay in business. But I live on the Larchmont side. I like both. I think the personalities of both communities are really, wonderful. They're unique, and we've got our challenges, but I think we are incredibly lucky. And I want to thank our business owners for taking the time to come today. And I hope that we can continue this discussion.